Good day. It's March 24th, 2025. The battle between the judiciary and the President Trump has escalated over the deportation of alleged criminals to a third world country. I'm Shahin Rahim. Welcome to The Pulse. The confrontation between Donald Trump and a federal judge over the deportation of alleged Venezuela gang members to El Salvador has intensified. Judge Boasberg, an Obama appointee, ordered an airplane carrying more than 230 passengers to be detained upon arrival in El Salvador, where Venezuelans were being held. At issue is the legality of transporting foreign nationals to a third country that is not their own, and President Trump uses of wartime powers under the Alien Enemies Act. Here's a timeline of this legal battle, which is now turning into a constitutional clash between the executive branch and the judiciary, both co-equal in power under the U.S. Constitution. On Saturday, March 15th, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg held an emergency hearing in response to petition filed by 5 Venezuelans whom the government alleged were gang members. The deportation was ordered under the Alien Enemies Act, a federal statute enacted in 1798, allowing the removal of foreign nationals from the enemy countries during wartime without trial. During the emergency hearing, Judge Boasberg was informed that a deportation flight was already airborne. He immediately issued a verbal order instructing the Trump administration to turn the plane around and later issued a written order blocking further deportation flights of Venezuela to third countries such as El Salvador and Honduras. The hearing began at 5 p.m. on Saturday and adjourned for a break at 5:22 p.m. However, the first deportation flight departed at 5:26 p.m. from Harlingen, Texas, bound for Honduras. A second flight departed at 5:45 p.m. from the same airport, and a third flight took off for San Salvador, El Salvador at 7:37 p.m. Between 6:45 p.m. and 6:48 p.m., when the hearing resumed, Judge Boasberg was informed that the flights were still in the air. He instructed DOJ lawyers that the planes needed to be turned around. At that point, none of the 3 flights had landed. The judge's written orders were published at 7:26 p.m. through the court's PACER system, a 10-minute before the flight landed. In essence, the order existed for 24 minutes before the first plane touched down. Judge Boasberg was displeased that his order had been ignored. By Monday, he scheduled a Wednesday deadline for the U.S. government to submit a sworn affidavit explaining why his orders was not followed. When Wednesday arrived, the DOJ's response was deemed insufficient, and Judge Boasberg granted them 1 additional day to provide the required affidavits. In a typical anti-judiciary response, Trump and some of his allies suggested that Judge Boasberg be impeached for obstructing the president's authority under the Alien Enemies Act. However, the application of the Aliens Enemy Act in this case is being challenged by the defense attorneys representing the Venezuela detainees. After Trump and his allies publicly denounced Judge Boasberg, social media was flooded with calls for impeachment. In a rare and unexpected response, Chief Justice John Roberts reminded critics that impeachment is not an appropriate response to a judicial ruling. He stated that if one disagrees with the judge's decision, the proper course of action is to appeal through the Court of Appeals or the Supreme Court, not impeachment. Jhone Ebert has been selected as the new Clark County School District Superintendent after unanimous 7-0 vote by the Board of Trustees. This decision follows the board's acceptance of former Superintendent Jesus Hara's resignation in February 2024, approved in a 5-2 vote. Ebert previously served as the Nevada State Superintendent in 2019. She is the first Filipino-American to hold this position. Still in Nevada, the Clark County Board of Commissioners held its final public hearing on the proposed designation of Filipino Town Las Vegas as a cultural district. The designated area would be along Maryland Parkway in Las Vegas, stretching from Desert Inn Drive in north to Flamingo Avenue in the south. Reverend Pastor Rosita Lee, who is leading the effort, spoke at the county commissioner hearing, urging officials to approve the cultural district designation. Around 100 Filipino-American, including individuals and representatives from the various organizations, attended the hearing in support. This area was chosen by Filipino-American community leaders, as it is the busiest district for the Phil-M community. Many Filipino-owned businesses are located here, including the Phil-M TV studio. We're going on a commercial break. Please stay tuned.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
All the ladies in the house, after you've gone and left me crying, after you've gone, there's no denying.
Mga kababayan! Welcome back to Chika Chika Today. Who is this mystery woman that Maynila's Principe of Pop seems to be smitten with?
Can't I just say, I like you?
What are your intentions with my mother, sir?
You must be Miguel.
Oh, Sin City sweethearts!
You break her heart. I'll break your pretty K-pop face.
I don't want him to think that I'm trying to be his dad.
Is this the real deal? Will she be the inspiration for a new love song? Or quite possibly another one of Gabriel's heartbreak hits? We will keep you posted on any updates as this story unfolds.
Made to Shine, coming soon. Presented by Phil-M TV Network. Written and directed by Giovanni Espiritu.
Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Republican Minnesota State Senator Justin Eichorn of Grand Rapids was arrested last week for soliciting prostitution from a minor. Detectives communicated with the man who believed he was speaking with a 16-year-old girl. When Eichorn arrived at the arranged meeting location, he was arrested in his pickup truck without incident. Both Democrats and Republicans in the Minnesota Senate and Assembly have called for his resignation. Eichorn recently made headlines after introducing a bill that sought to define Trump deranged syndrome in state law. This case highlights the contradiction often pointed out by the critics, where Republican leaders claim to be a party of family values and child protection, yet some are caught in scandals that contradict those principles. Donald Trump and his administration continue to lose in federal court over the constitutionality of his executive orders. Ironically, lawsuits challenging Trump's policies are the same legal tools Republicans use to block former President Joe Biden's executive orders, including initiatives like student loan forgiveness. Trump's disregard for constitutional norms has put him at odds with the public and affected sectors, leading to repeated losses in federal court. Most recently, a judge ruled that Trump's decision to shut down the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID, was likely unconstitutional. U.S. District Judge Theodore Chang ruled last Tuesday that Elon Musk's attempt to dismantle USAID under his role in the Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE, likely violated the Constitution. The court ordered Musk and DOGE to restore access to employees' email, payroll systems, security notifications, and all other agency functions while pausing any further efforts to shut down USAID. Judge Wong emphasized that Musk's action usurped the authority of Congress, which has the constitutional power to determine the fate of federal agencies. The ruling rebuts the Trump's administration approach, though its full implication on USAID remain unclear. We'll take a commercial break. Please stay with us.
Pure Medical Equipment provides top-notch quality medical supply equipment. Whether to rent or buy, Pure Medical Equipment and Supplies has it all.
Pure Medical Equipment is committed to serve and give back to Southern Nevada.
We deliver medical supplies and rentals to your door.
All the ladies in the house. After you've gone and left me crying. After you've gone, there's no denying.
Mga kababayan! Welcome back to Chika Chika Today. Who is this mystery woman that Manila's Principe of Pop seems to be smitten with?
Can't I just say, I like you?
What are your intentions with my mother, sir?
You must be Miguel.
Oh, Sin City sweethearts!
You break her heart, I'll break your pretty K-pop face.
I don't want him to think that I'm trying to be his dad.
Is this the real deal? Will she be the inspiration for a new love song? Or quite possibly another one of Gabriel's heartbreak hits? We will keep you posted on any updates as this story unfolds.
Made to Shine, coming soon. Presented by Philam TV Network. Written and directed by Jhone Ebert.
Executive produced by Sam Buban and Esmeralda Padilla Gould.
Welcome back to The Pulse. In our international news, people need a break. The Democratic Republic of Congo crisis brings up sad memories of Congo conflicts. In a report from Al Jazeera, in parts of Democratic Republic of the Congo, communities are gearing up for a war or fleeing to safety amid the advances of M23 rebels, who captured the key eastern cities of Goma and Bukavu in recent weeks, leaving devastation in their wake. The rebel group, which the United Nations says is backed by neighboring Rwanda, has also closed in on Walikale, a major mining hub, while in the capital, Kinshasa, the government offers a $5 million reward for the capture of M23 leaders, has not slowed the group down. For political observers, the growing presence of Rwandan and Ugandan soldiers in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is a haunting reminder of the tragic history, one that, if not handled, may lead to a larger regional war. We are indeed seeing a replica of the Second Congo War with the same actors, but in slightly different configurations. Analyst Paul Natalia of the Africa Center for Strategic Studies told Al Jazeera, referring to the leading roles both countries played in what is now referred to as 1998 Great African War, where Rwandan and Ugandan troops invaded the DRC. Several African countries followed suit, supporting either the DRC or the Rwandan-led side, as well as dozens of local militias on both sides. The outcome was a humanitarian crisis in which an estimated 5 million people died. The DRC seized mineral riches such as gold, and the rise of dozens of armed organizations, notably M23. Thousands of people around the world protested the crimes in DRC at the time, demanding a stop to the looting and murdering, illegal mining and smuggling from the DRC's mines, which supply 70% of the world's supply of coltan and cobalt used in electronics and continue to this day, as do murders and displacements caused by armed groups. Appetite for political negotiations is low, and international pressure and coercive measures have not had the deterrent effort they once had in previous bouts of crisis. Nantulia added, referring to the European Union's suspension of military aid to Rwanda and US sanctions on key Rwandan army officials. In Turkey, President Erdogan's challenger was detained days before becoming the presidential candidate. According to BBC, Turkish police have jailed Istanbul's mayor just days before he was set to be chosen as a presidential candidate. Ekrem İmamoğlu of the Secular Republic People's Party, which is also known as CHP, is regarded as one of Turkish's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan's most powerful political opponent. Prosecutors accused him of corruption and supporting a terrorist group, describing him as a criminal organization leader's suspect. As part of the inquiry, authorities detained 100 individuals, including other politicians, journalists, and businessmen. The Istanbul governor's office imposed city-wide restriction for 4 days. İmamoğlu stated on the internet that the will of the people cannot be silenced. In a social media video, he vowed to stand resolute for the Turkish people and others who promote democracy and justice around the world. He said, "I stand firm in my fight for the fundamental rights and freedom," İmamoğlu told reporters. The detention is a part of a larger crackdown on opposition figures nationwide in recent months. Critics have described the action as politically motivated. However, Erdogan, who has been in power for 22 years, and his party have refuted the allegations, claiming that Turkey's judiciary is independent. İmamoğlu was re-elected mayor of Istanbul last year after his CHP party swept local elections in both the city and Ankara. It was first time since Erdogan took office that his party had been beaten at the polls across the country. The elections also dealt a personal blow to the president, who grew up in Istanbul and became a mayor during his ascent to power. Dozens of police officers were part in the early morning raid on İmamoğlu's home in Turkey's largest metropolis. The CHP's president candidate selection, in which İmamoğlu is the only candidate. It will take place on Sunday. It came a day after Istanbul's university revoked its degree owing to an alleged irregularities, a decision that, if confirmed, would bar him from standing in presidential elections. According to the Turkish constitution, presidents must have finished a higher education before taking office. İmamoğlu called the move legally baseless and stated that colleges must remain independent, free of political interference, and dedicated to knowledge. His CHP party has described the recent actions against him as a coup attempt to prevent the nation from determining the next president. Presidential elections are set for 2028. Erdogan cannot run for politics again because he is serving his second term and was previously prime minister. In Israel, the ceasefire in Gaza has crumbled. Israel has launched additional bombings. According to a report from CNN, when Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's administration resumed its bombing on Enclave, Hamas wanted the truce deal to be maintained. A spokeswoman for the terrorist group said Tuesday, Hamas' interest was in continuation of the agreement. Abdul Latif Al-Naku stated in a Telegram post. He added that the organization is dealing responsibly and positively with whatever is proposed to stop the aggression and lift the siege. This comes after Israel's foreign minister spokeswoman Oren Marmorstein accused Hamas of rejecting two concrete mediation proposals presented by the U.S. President's envoy, Steve Witkoff. Al-Qanawi stated that Witkoff's proposal was on the negotiation table and Hamas did not reject it but dealt with it positively. He additionally stated Netanyahu's resumed the war to thwart the agreement. Al-Qanawi also stated that Hamas is in constant contact with mediators following Israel's resumption of strikes on Gaza, and that the militant group will continue to deal flexibly and positively with the mediators to repel the aggression against our people and compel the occupation to abide by the agreement. Doctors and healthcare workers recounted horrible scenes in Gaza's hospital on Tuesday, following the restart of Israel attacks that have killed over 400 people, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. The smell of burnt flesh is still in my nose, as stated by an Australian physician, Muhammad Mustafa, said in a video posted on Instagram. He claimed he awoke to airstrikes around 1 a.m. and had been working non-stop for hours while the bombing continued around him. The Al-Ahli Baptist Hospital in Gaza City, where he works, has run out of painkillers, anesthetics, and sedatives, Mustafa explained. 7 damaged girl limbs were removed without anesthesia, and intubated patients are choking because they cannot be sedated, he said. Mustafa stated the majority of the casualties he encountered were women and children with severe burns and missing limbs. More than 170 children were killed in the nighttime onslaught, according to the Gaza officials, making it one of the highest single-day child mortality tolls in the past year worldwide, according to the United Nations Children's Agency. What a sad development. We will leave it at that as we are out of time for this broadcast. I'm Shahin Rahim. Thank you for your watching and God bless your week.
Don't waste your money on CBD. Now hold on, don't turn the video off. If you're already taking CBD, good for you. You're on a good path, but there's a much better way. If you're thinking, should I try CBD? Let me answer a couple of questions that might help you make the decision to even try a CBD product. First of all, let's answer the question, what is CBD and where does it come from? CBD is cannabidiol. It's called a cannabinoid, and it's found naturally in many different plants. In fact, as you see here in the Cannabicae family, there's hops, sandalwood, hackberry, of course, hemp, even marijuana, but we're not talking here about marijuana. In fact, we're going to be talking about hemp. As I started to mention, CBD can be found in hemp, in rather high levels, as a matter of fact. But here's the problem. CBD is not the only cannabinoid you can find in hemp. Hemp contains over 100 different cannabinoids. In fact, in the Cannabicae family, hemp contains the highest level of cannabinoids of any plant. which is why it's the most popular source for CBD. But as I mentioned, CBD is only one of the cannabinoids that you can find in hemp. Hemp contains high levels also of CBC, CBG, and CBN. So why would we want CBC, CBD, CBG, and CBN? Well, as we look at the benefits here from CBD alone, you can see these benefits are great. I mean, who wouldn't want these benefits, right? But let's look at the benefits you can get from CBC. You see, they compound with CBD and offer yet even more. But then let's also now look at CBG. CBG has even more benefits. So naturally, anybody looking for the maximum benefit you can derive from hemp would want CBC, CBG, and CBD. But don't stop there. CBN also has fantastic benefits. So if you're looking for a great hemp product and you're contemplating trying a CBD product, don't just buy CBD. And please, don't buy that cheap gas station grocery store stuff. It's just that, cheap, and it won't benefit you at all. But if you can get a high grade, medical grade in fact, hemp product that contains CBC, CBD, CBG, and CBN, now you are unleashing the full power of your body that can only happen if you have all four of these cannabinoids in your body. If you're taking CBD, you're getting roughly 1/4 of the benefit that hemp can give you. Well, 1/4 is better than nothing, I suppose, but when you want 100% of all the benefits that hemp can give you, that is what happens if you take CBD with CBC, CBG, and CBN. So now you're probably asking, well, where on earth do I get all four of those? The problem now is solved. CBX4 contains high levels, not trace levels, and this is very important, contains high levels of all four of these cannabinoids, which means every benefit we listed up until now is available to you naturally in CBX4 and only in CBX4.